Vici Gaming versus Newbee. We are so excited to be here. These two teams worked so hard. Let's just give you a little bit of a rundown on their stories. Vici Gaming, thought to be one of the better teams coming into the tournament. They ended up getting first place in the group stage. They did better than everybody else. And then they got knocked to the loser's bracket by Newbee. Newbee almost got eliminated. They ended up 7 and 8 in their group stage. They played a 3-way tie to see which of the 3 teams got eliminated. Newbee was just fine there, but from there they won 5 best-of-3s in a row, including knocking Vici Gaming to the lower bracket, and they even went through EG to the grand final. So Newbee has had quite the story coming here.
Ever since the group stage, they have just crushed, and they're actually picking pretty fast here. So, but of course, Vici Gaming was the #1 seed, like you said. So I don't even know who's the favorite here. We have both teams coming in with a lot of momentum because Vici Gaming had to win a couple best-of-3s yesterday in order to get to the grand finals. But this, of course, is a best-of-5. Best team shall win. That is how every other sport works. That is how Dota will work today.
Newbee didn't have to play any games yesterday. They just got to watch Vici Gaming play sets and sets. So
10 seconds.
Did Vici play 2 sets yesterday?
Yeah,
I think. Yeah, they finished that best-of-3 against Cloud9, and then they played a 2-0 versus DK. Oh, and then they played a 2-0. Then they played against EG, didn't they?
They didn't play Cloud9. They? No. Okay, they did.
Yeah, they played Cloud9. Then they beat DK. Then they beat EG 2-1. So Newbee got to watch them play 3 sets yesterday, all from the relaxation of their booth. They got to look at their drafts. During the press conference, one of the players said they had about a 50% chance of beating them, is what they guessed. But I've seen some tweets from pro players. Fluff and Stuff said he thinks Newbee has a bit of an advantage because their style matches up good against Vici's, but we'll see. Anyways, this is the newcomer stream. We're going to try to go over a lot of basic concepts. If you guys are new to Dota, we're glad that you're here. We want to try to get you into the game, and we're going to try to explain things that hopefully let you understand stuff. So first things first, we're going to go all over all of the heroes, and the first skills that we're going to be looking at is Nature's Prophet's Teleport. This is a hero that can be globally influential. He can jump around the map. Yeah, global presence. He can teleport globally on the map. He has a spell called Nature's Call that summons treants from the ground, and these treants can run around. They can tank creeps. They can push towers. He also has a skill called Sprout, which we will see sometimes. He basically summons trees around your opponent. They can use an item called a Tango to break through these. So in the early game, this ability is pretty weak, but in the late game, it can be quite useful.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It gives vision too. That's another thing to keep in mind. So that is Nature's Prophet. Of course, Ancient Apparition is the second pick. This time it's from Newbee. He has a few skills that I guess we could talk about. The Cold Feet is his first ability. That's
the first time we've ever clicked on that. I'm pretty sure the whole tournament.
Well, keep in mind, guys, if you're in Dota TV, you won't be seeing what we're seeing. You have to click on the actual abilities to see what they do. But his first ability is Cold Feet. It's a single target ability used on an enemy. It does damage over time, and if they stay in that area for about 3 seconds, 4 seconds, whatever it is, they will get frozen in place for a few seconds time as well. His second ability is called Ice Vortex. It's a little icy little area you put on the ground that slows the enemies. It also amplifies magical damage that you do to them. So that's great because of his third ability, which is called Chilling Touch. This is something actually incredibly strong in the early game. You might even see this right off the bat in a level 1 engagement. You buff your team and yourself with a bunch of extra damage, meaning, and actually the interesting thing about this is the reason it synergizes well with Ice Vortex is because that damage is actually magical, which is very unique. You do attack a little bit slower, but like I said, in the early game, especially on range heroes, it's very strong. And his ultimate is what we'll be seeing a lot of this game in all likelihood. It's called Ice Blast. It is a global ability, meaning you can actually fly this across the entire map. It's a projectile. It has 2 points you have to click. You click it once to shoot it out, another time to actually choose the point of destination. If it hits enemies, it does a bunch of burst damage, and it also applies a debuff, which will do a couple of things. It will do a little bit of damage over time. It will stop regeneration, meaning you can't actually heal at all. There's no way to actually heal up at that point. And if you get below 10% health or so, you just drop dead.
It's very good to land on heroes that you're trying to pick off at the start of the fight. So hopefully for Newbee, they can focus on one guy like Earthshaker, Shadow Shaman, or even the Brewmaster is what they'll be aiming to do. Shadow Shaman's a very popular support hero right now because his ultimate Mass Serpent Ward, it allows you to push towers once Shadow Shaman hits level 6. So he'll put these wards down and they'll attack creeps, they'll push towers. They take a little damage, but not a huge amount. And generally, they're just good for forcing engagements in the early game. He has a couple good skills. Ether Shock here is his first ability. It does a cone nuke or a cone damage to bunch of units and heroes. It's a very low cooldown, so you'll see him casting that a lot during team fights if possible. But his most important abilities, other than his ulti, are Hex, his second skill. This disables your opponent and prevents him from casting spells or using items or pretty much doing anything other than walking a very slow speed. And he also has Shackles, his third skill, which completely disables your opponent. And you can see by this little animation above their head, that means he's stunned. And while he's channeling that, he can't be interrupted. If Shadow Shaman gets interrupted, it breaks the shackles and your ally is going to be able to run away because of that. So Shadow Shaman, very good support hero right now. They generally grab an item called a Blink Dagger on him, and the Blink Dagger allows him to teleport a short distance and initiate with Hex and ulti and shackles and all that good stuff.
And speaking of initiation and also Blink Daggers, every single hero on Vici Gaming wants to get that item because Earthshaker and Brewmaster are great initiators in their own right. Earthshaker, though, his first, yes, we did it correctly this time, his first ability is called Fissure. It's a long-range stun that creates an impassable barrier unless you have a certain ability to get over it. It lasts for 8 seconds, the barrier itself, so it's very strong, especially in the early game if you can block people up. His ultimate, talking about this one, Enchant Totem gives him a critical strike, basically doing 4 times the amount of damage that you normally get. It's only for 1 hit though, but that in conjunction with his third ability, there we go, which is called Aftershock. Anytime he casts a spell, he will stun people and deal a little bit of damage in the area around him. So Enchant Totem, which was his second critical strike ability, will actually turn into a stun as a result of that. But his most important ability by far, especially in the late game, is Echo Slam. It deals a ton of damage. It's actually instant cast. So you cast it, it just instantly goes off. It does more damage based on how many units are there. So as an example, Nature's Prophet, we saw the Nature's Call ability, when he creates those little tree ants.
Reserve time.
He groups up with those. Technically speaking, with the right items, Earthshaker can actually one-shot a few heroes because of this ability, the Echo Slam.
Yeah, Earthshaker is very good at counter pushing as well, because again, the Fissure is a very long range of 1,400 units. This means that he can safely throw down the stun and a bit of damage on the wave, and generally it'll slit on the push. Brewmaster is the next pick from Vici Gaming. This is generally a mid hero, a hero that's going to go farm in the mid lane. And he wants to hit level 6 really fast, and he wants to farm a Blink Dagger. And if he can do that, he can end up blinking in using his Thunderclap here, which slows enemies and does damage to them. And then he can use his ultimate Primal Split, which splits him into 3 heroes, or 3 mini heroes, so to speak, and they have little disables. The stone one, the green one, has a ranged stun. The blue one has a cyclone that he can throw enemies in the air that he does not want to have to deal with for 6 seconds. And the fire one runs really fast, and it does bonus damage and has a burning aura around it. So he's going to aim for the supports, generally the Lion and the Ancient Apparition. Those heroes are going to have to run away from Brewmaster when he ultis. But other than that, he also has a critical strike. This will occasionally critical strike. You'll see it in just a second. It makes a cool sound.
There we go.
There it is. And it also gives him evasion when enemy heroes are attacking him. So he's actually very difficult to kill. But because of the heroes that Newbee's currently working with, if Lion and Ancient Apparition here combo against him, he could end up dying. And that's because Lion has a lot of disable and burst damage. He can prevent Brewmaster from splitting. He has a skill just like Shadow Shaman's ability. It's called Hex. Except his looks a little different sometimes. Can turn people into fishes or frogs or things like that. Yeah, he turns people into frogs instead of chickens, but it also lasts a lot longer at level 1. His Hex is a bit better there for 2.5 seconds, but his main disable is called Earth Spike. It's a line stun on the ground. It can hit everybody within this line. It's a very good disable. And using that and then following up with Hex means a lot of disable against Brewmaster. And then you follow that up with your ulti, Finger of Death, which is a ranged nuke on a very long cooldown. It's a super good damage nuke.
What I got here, Purge?
What do you got? You actually have a Finger of Death in the room.
It's a foam Finger of Death. You can get the secret shot. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. His third skill is Mana Drain, so if he doesn't want to just kill Panda or the Brewmaster, he can suck mana off of him. I just said that. Whoops.
Just said that. He drains mana.
Drains mana off of him.
Get your mind out of the gutter, buddy. But yeah, that's a very strong disabler in line, of course. Clockwork, though. So Vici Gaming so far has so much initiation. Clockwork is going to be their main initiator, especially early on. Because of his ultimate ability called Hook Shot, he will hook an enemy, meaning he will actually transport himself to them while stunning them in the process. And this is actually, he's a big combo here just for himself, because he follows it up with Power Cogs, which he creates a bunch of, like as you do battery assault.
5 seconds.
All right, well, battery assault is pretty good. It deals damage to random targets around you and also mini stuns them. But the reason it's really good is because you can stick people inside the cogs, trap them inside, deal a lot of damage with the battery assault, and he does have a third ability called Rocket.
We're not going to look at it because it's...
Okay,
I just want to look at Lone Druid really fast because he's about to get picked here. He can transform from a regular dude into a bear. I don't know why you'd want to look like this, but he can do it, and he gets really tanky when he does this. And essentially, his bear can hold items, his bear can do extra damage towards towers, and it becomes the fixture of Vici Gaming's pushing lineup because the bear runs in front, he can hit stuff, and prevent the tower with the bear. The bear's really tanky, and the tanky bear does a lot of damage to the tower. So this Vici Gaming is looking to have a team fight push kind of strat going on here. Clockwork is a great pick. He's good against Line and Ancient Apparition. He can kill Nature's Prophet as well. The Lifestealer is going to be a little tough because Lifestealer is pretty good against the Brewmaster, and the Lone Druid actually is very good because his second skill, it's called Feast, and it does a chunk of damage based on how much HP somebody has, so it does a percentage. So if your HP is really high and the bear has about 1800 HP, then he does 7% of the total of the remaining life of the bear with every hit, and he lifesteals that. So if he wants to get a full heal, he just hits the bear a few times and he gets about 30% of his HP back because the bear has so much more HP than Lifestealer does. So it's very good here. The Alchemist is going to do a minus armor aura, which is going to be pretty annoying to deal with for the enemy team, but this is looking like a pretty good draft for Vici Gaming to me. I think if the Clockwork gets a lot of kills here, then their fights are going to go really well. So we'll see if they can do that.
Yeah, both lines actually super aggressive because one of the abilities we didn't go over, which is Lifestealer's ultimate, it's called Infest. He can go inside a creep or a hero, and in this purpose he's going to go inside an ally hero, and he can just stay in there as long as he wants, and he can pop out, which does burst damage. The reason that's important is because of Nature's Prophet. He can teleport literally anywhere on the map. So this is going to be the combination they're going to be looking for. The teleport somewhere to gank with Lifestealer inside of him, and then Ancient Apparition with his global ult. Pretty scary stuff. So both teams want to get off to a good start because I think the mid game is, honestly, both teams' forte is the mid game for sure. Lone Druid be able to carry it. Actually, Lifestealer is pretty damn good, like you said, so it really depends on the late.
I think the late game's a bit better for Newbee, but I feel like Vici Gaming's team fight is a little better. Although, if Newbee has very good single target burst, so if they can jump on one guy and burst down one hero, I think their team fight is a little better. So they gotta focus on killing one person of Vici Gaming before the team fight starts, or they have to go really late game. But Vici Gaming is just generally good at Clockwork. Basically, Clockwork needs to pick off the supports, and if they can do that, Vici Gaming will get advantage.
All right, so since this is the first day, or the first game, I should say, of the grand finals, I know there's not a lot of new people here. Let's just go over the complete basics if we can real quick. This is an action real-time strategy. Some people may call it MOBA, which is multiplayer online battle arena, but we prefer ARTS.
The battle
personally.
begins.
I don't know how you feel about that,
I usually just say MOBA because I don't care that much. I'm sorry.
Disgusting.
Anyways,
it is a 5 versus 5, as you can tell.
There's 3 lanes in this game. The lanes are designated by where the creeps spawn and where they run to. There's one lane on the bottom, there's one lane on the middle, and there's one lane on the top. And this pretty much mirrors almost exactly for the enemy team as well. The Dire team is the red team, the Radiant team is the green team. Or usually at least the icons will be green, whatever team you're on, pretty much.
When you say creeps, these are like these are little computer-controlled units that will spawn from each respective lane. You cannot control them. They will mindlessly push in the direction or in the lane that they're designated to every 30 seconds. So you can see a second wave just spawn at the base. You can see on the minimap bottom left. And the objective of the game is to push. And of course, things you have to push are towers. There are 3 towers on the outer edges of the base that are protecting, actually technically 4, I guess. There's 4 tiers of towers. Protecting the Ancient, which is the thing that you technically need to kill in the enemy base. But of course it is protected by these towers, which deal a lot of damage. This is something that a lot of new players don't realize. Like early game, like right now, when heroes are level 1, level 2, even when you're a little bit higher level, these towers hurt a lot. You can't just dive them. You don't want to get too close. So what they're doing right now is just getting last hits, which are... Anytime you get a last hit on a creep, you get gold, you get experience. And that's exactly what this early game is about, right?
Yep. So they're just going to focus on getting last hits for now. They're also going to try to get kills if they see the opportunities, but if you see somebody get a last hit, you'll see a little number come up. It's a plus 38 in this case, where the Alchemist got the last hit on that creep. He's actually doing pretty well here. Getting super quite low, super playing Brewmaster here on the mid lane. If we look in the upper left, we can see how good their last hits are. And actually Moo's doing a little worse. So the Alchemist here only has 6 last hits, whereas the Brewmaster has 10 and 5. The second number is at Deny. And what that means is that when one of your creeps are low, you can get the last hit on it instead of your opponent.
Trapped him up top. Purge. Lion getting really low. He's going to get at an impale, but he's stuck in the trees. I don't think he's going to get at it. First blood looks to be Vici's. And Shadow Shaman. Grand final, first kill going to hit, but there comes the Light Stealer. And the teleportation, we're talking about the global presence of Nature's Prophet. That's 1 kill for Newbee. Can they pick anybody else off? No. And the reason for that, you remember you talked about Nature's Prophet first ability Sprout. He's not going to get that yet. He'll probably pick up a level with, I would think, at level 4, which is next. Because when he does that, ganking becomes a lot easier for him. Especially on these heroes like look at Earthshaker, has nothing to actually counter with, no items whatsoever.
Ooh. I like this TP from Shadow Shaman here. Occasionally you'll see people leave their lanes and try to do something somewhere else. It's coming from behind. Here's a couple hits on Zhao 8. We will see if Hogs in here is going to keep him caught in, but RK will shoot a rocket, and that's going to be a kill. Really nice rotation there from FY. Super sick gank. A gank is when somebody leaves their lane, goes somewhere else, and tries to make a play happen. And rather than just playing passively on their tri-lane, he TPs to the bot lane, he uses a smoke, which is an item that makes him invisible unless he gets close to enemy heroes or towers, and he secures the kill there. And that was a really big pick-off because Vici Gaming not only had an advantage on the top lane, but now they got a bit more again.
And you may be confused why the cogs look different. They look like pacifiers, in fact. That is what is called a cosmetic. The game is free to play. The only thing you don't have to buy anything at all. You get every single hero, but you can buy cosmetics which make things look different. We're going to see little damage being done to Ancient Apparition in the jungle. Don't think he's going to be able to get the kill because Shadow Shaman is still only level 3. Actually, he does have boots advantage though. No, he's not going to dive. Again, the tower is there. That's a tier 2 tower, so it hurts even more. There's no way he's going to dive that early.
Yeah, Shadow Shaman's an unnaturally slow hero, unfortunately for him. So he's only a bit faster than the Ancient Apparition with his boots advantage. This is an item that you buy right at the start of the game. Well, not at the immediate start, but very shortly after the start of the game. And it gives you some movement speed, which allows you to chase down your opponents. And if you get the boots before your opponents have them, then, oh, that was really, I don't know if he did it on purpose or not. It looked like he was pretending to drop a ward, but they would obviously just check his inventory. Rune's actually not going to spawn here. We might see Super get another kill. He's got his ulti. Will he go for it? He is going to go for it. This is going to be a second kill in the mid lane. If he kills Moo here, this is really bad for Newbee. Does get him. That was very close. If the Ancients here, these do a lot of damage right now. If they would have gotten the last hit on Alchemist, it would have been denied. But instead, the Brewmaster is able to get the kill. That's a second kill in the mid lane. That doesn't normally happen. Usually we see a lot more even last hitting on the mid lane. You don't see many solo kills or heroes killing one hero by himself, basically.
ROTK on this block, repetitive invisibility, which will go over in just a moment. The Shackle's going to help finish off the Nature's Prophet for a second time. It's a 5-1 advantage for Vici Gaming. If you can put your camera at either of the rune spots. So every 2 minutes on the dot, a rune will spawn at either top or bottom of the river. There's 1 of 5 runes available. That was the invisibility rune, which I don't think you saw on the camera.
I missed it.
But if you look at top rune, this is actually a smoke. So these guys are, this is a consumable you can buy to make you and your teammates around you invisible to the mini-map and to wards, which we haven't gone over yet. But when they come in contact with an enemy hero, they will become visible again. We'll see if they can end up trying to gank somebody up top.
They're looking to initiate. Siler's got his Baron. He's almost level 6 though, so he's going to want to transform very soon. Because his HP is going to go from 600 to almost 1,000. So once you get about 1,000 HP, it's almost impossible to die, and he'll be pretty good. His last hitting is pretty solid so far, 21. The kills on Vici Gaming are much higher than Newbee's though, so it's looking okay for Newbee. They've got good last hits, but they've had a lot of deaths here. And the EXP advantage, at least in the mid lane, Super here is almost level 8 on his Brewmaster, so they're doing a nice job here.
So we haven't even gone over what the levels truly mean, because for most heroes, by that I mean every hero but 2 in the game, there's over 100 that you can choose from. Level 6 is very significant because that's when you get your ultimate in mid lane. We're going to have a fissure on Alchemist. He has his ultimate activated. He's going to be regenerating a little bit more than usual, but it's going to be damage. Vici Gaming still on top, 6-1. Brewmaster going pretty deep to the tower. I think they'll pick up anybody else. There you see the Sprout not really doing too much. And they're going to be able to get 2 kills and run away without losing anybody.
Vici Gaming's playing so well right now. They're just roaming around getting all the kills. The Earthshaker came from the top lane to mid. He dropped a Fissure. They were able to coordinate. And even the ROTK rocket.
Wow. Top lane, another death.
That was Vici Gaming though this time, it looks like. So Newbee finally gets some kills of their own, and they're definitely very happy to do that. The Clockwork uses third skill. The one skill we didn't look at is called Rocket Flare. He can shoot this thing globally, and it flies across the map. If we can catch it, there's the rocket. Flies all the way across the map, and when it hits, it does 200 damage. It's very hard to land this on enemy heroes, but he actually got the kill on the Alchemist right here by shooting the rocket across the map.
That's actually funny.
That's how they got it.
The kill that you missed at top, that was actually Nature's Prophet getting that with which also global.
Really?
So that's 2 global kills in Earth. But yeah, the rocket is much harder to get kills because it's not very significant as far as damage is concerned.
Yeah. The Nature's Prophet ulti is kind of like a chain lightning that hits everybody that your team can see. Chain Moss. Mossy chain lightning.
Yes.
It hits everybody that your team can see, and as it bounces more and more, it does more and more damage. So if you're about to gank somebody, you'll see Nature's Prophet cast his ultimate. It'll bounce off about 6 or 7 creeps, and then it'll jump mid lane and do about 200 and some damage. It's pretty good for globally ganking. It's better for ganking than it is for farming. You can farm very well with it, but it's not generally best not to do that. Hookshot comes in, he gets him, moves in trouble, he doesn't have any mana. Here comes the Cogs, he's got him now. Great stone actually from Banana. He breaks the Cogs, a bit of a mistake here, and Move doing a great job running away, but I think that's going to be it here, and he will end up going down. Dominating spree for ROTK on the Clockwork. He's 4-0-1. What a perfect start for him. He used his hook shot, he landed it, and he followed up some chasing battery assault damage and got a kill.
Yeah, and this is a hero that you definitely want to get off to a good start on. You'll see that it's almost 8 minutes at the top of the screen. He's going to be hoping that the rune will spawn at the bottom. It's a 50-50 chance. It will not. It will be top, and the haste rune will go to super, which is fine as well because, well, this is the same team. They actually both have bottles, so bottles is a cool item. You might have seen the little effect on the Brewmaster a little earlier. It regenerates your health and mana. You get 3 charges per bottle. You can refill them either in the fountain.
Oh, he's in trouble.
Picking up runes, Black Stealer, using his ultimate already, getting a little bit of health, but look, the haste rune activated on Brewmaster, who's maximum speed. He might die for this. Wouldn't be too surprised here.
He's gonna get
but it's not going to slow him actually because the haste is unslowable. One more thunderclap.
Oh,
he misses it. Can they block him in? They will. But Lifesteal is still really low. All Brewmaster can really do is try to right click, but the disables are there from Lion. You said it turns him into frogs. This is actually another cosmetic you can buy that turns him into fish.
He played that really well. The Lifestealer knew that the Panda was about to slow him, and as soon as he did, he used his Rage ability, which removes negative debuffs and makes him magic immune. So he completely countered the slow that Brewmaster was able to use there. And then he juked into the trees, and what a juke means is you run in here, and there's a bit of a path that's kind of hard to see, but he did use it. I'm sorry, it's down here. He ran down here, and he ran in a circle, and he thought maybe, the Brewmaster thought that the Lifestealer was going to try to hide in one of these little tree clumps, and because of that, he missed his clap, he came in here, and then the heroes blocked him in, and this is one exit, and this is the other exit. If you block them off, then he's stuck in there. It doesn't matter how fast you are.
Shadow Shaman was able to teleport. So actually, we haven't even talked about teleportation. So there's an item you can buy. It's I guess you can call it a consumable, called a town teleport scroll. What is it actually called?
Teleport scroll. Town teleport scroll.
It is. Oh, it is town teleport scroll. I thought that was like Diablo or something. Like,
I mean, it kind of was.
Yeah. So when you buy this, it's 135 gold. You can teleport to any structure that you own.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
It does take a little bit of channeling time. So there's like a couple seconds where you're just not moving. If you take damage, it's fine. You can still teleport away. But if you get stunned, that is what cancels the teleportation. And here we have another smoke at top. Rune Purge, Clockwork, and the Shadow Shaman. Doesn't look like they're going for a gank though. They're just gonna join the rest of Vici Gaming
is under attack.
Push this tower, and we haven't even talked too much about the Baron's abilities.
Top tower
he's leveled up, he has some. His first ability is called Return. This will return him to his owner, his slave master, if you will, in the Lone Druid. If he's taking hero-based damage, it actually goes on cooldown, as you can see here. 3 seconds keeps going up. And you can blink anytime now. So it goes anywhere on the map actually. So you can use this as a courier in a lot of ways by putting him in your fountain to buy items and whatnot. His second ability is a passive called Entangling Claws. This gives him a percentage chance on attack to entangle enemy heroes. This is an immobilize, means they can attack, they can use spells, but they just can't move. And it also does a little bit of damage over time. But the most important skill for Lone Druid, I feel, at least for pushing potential, is his other passive called Demolish. This makes him do a ton of
Dire's
damage.
bottom tower has been
also gives
denied.
him good spell resistance, actually.
Oh, so. Is it really? I didn't even realize that.
33%. That's a bit higher than a regular hero, actually. So pretty good to level up that skill, especially if you're against a hero like Lion. Definitely very good. Clockwork's going for a fast mechanism. This is an item To build items in Dota, you basically buy base components. You usually mix them with things called recipes. So to make a buckler, he needs to buy chainmail, an ironwood branch, and a recipe of buckler. So he's already done that. He put them all in his inventory, made a buckler. To make a mechanism, he also needs a headdress, which requires similar items. And then he also needs a final recipe to create the mechanism. But once he finishes this item, it usually does something special and new. And instead of just being the base components, it ends up healing his allies when he ends up using this. So with a fast one of these, he can heal his allies and give them a better chance of surviving the team fights and winning the team fights. And right now he's looking for kills maybe. He's looking to see if he can find any support heroes like Ancient Apparition or Lion, but they're actually playing pretty safe and they're sitting far back because they know that if Clockwork lands a hookshot on them, they will die 100%, and that means a big advantage for Vici Gaming.
If we say mech, that's short for mechanism, just an FYI. And that's actually, I just thought of this, it makes no sense. In every other thing that you do with a recipe, you get the recipe first in order to create everything else, but this is not the case. You want to get this last, because the actual piece of paper doesn't give you any stats. Like the raw components will give you stats, they just won't have any active abilities, so that's the basic concept.
Not always true. Ghost Scepter is an example, but
that's true, for the most part, though, when you try to build something with a recipe. And not everything actually requires a recipe either.
So there's a Blink Dagger in the shop now. This is a 2,100 gold item that allows him to short range teleport. He can't teleport right now though because he's taking player-based damage from this acid spray. What he wants to use is to blink in, clap, and then ulti. He's looking for switch heroes. He's standing out of the acid. Is he going to go? And he's thinking about it. He wants to go in on Lion. That's the hero that he has to take down, but the ward stack's so fast there. Alchemist is really good at counter pushing with acid spray.
Keep in mind that the enemies can actually click on the other heroes.
Yep.
I shouldn't say the enemies. Yeah, I guess Newbie in this case can click on Brewmaster once he's seen and see what exact items he has. So it's not a surprise that he has a blink. Why they're not too scared. They'll be able to follow that up with something. But Sylar here at the top lane on Lone Druid. Look how beefy he is. Maybe you guys that are newer to the game can't really appreciate, I suppose, how much health is 1,200 health, 10 armor at level 8. This is his ultimate coming to full effect here. As we're going to have a smoke gank attempt here. ROTK on Vici Gaming and Company. But Newbie, they feel it. They can feel it.
Maybe not. House coming forward. This could be it. Looking for a fissure. Into a hook shot. Trying to get a hook shot actually. They don't Oh, he does actually go for it. Does some damage with the stables actually. Oh, Echo Slam finishes it off.
All right.
We don't see Earthshaker use that ability very much because it's melee range. You have to get up close to use it, but they use all of their ultimates, but they killed the enemy lifestealer. And that's a big pickup because that's Newbie's carry. That's their hero that's most likely to do very, very well late game. So if they can kill him this early, they snowball, they get towers, they get gold, and they should be able to translate this into an earlier advantage. And they want to try to get an early advantage because it means they can end the game. So the Lone Druid's going for an item called a Radiance, and what Radiance does is it's a burning sword basically, and you hold it, and wherever, if anybody's standing near, whoever has the ring is actually going in again on a running kill.
My goodness.
If you stand near where the burning sword is, you take magic damage over time. And this Spirit Bear is going to go to the side shop. It's going to buy the Relic. The Relic is the first component in the Radiance. And there it is. It's plus 60 damage. He's going to get resummoned over here.
That's a lot.
Costs him a cooldown here, but he's full HP again, and now they're going to try to take the tower.
Now this is a pretty strong tower, especially 14 minutes in the game. You see how much damage this Spirit Bear does to it. This with not only the demolish, but like you said, the Sacred Relic, which gives 60 plus damage. Now he's doing 120. He's basically a hero. So normal heroes buy items for themselves, but for Lone Druid, he actually just doesn't really buy many items for himself. He buys them for the bear. He's a good guy. And of course, something else we should mention about items, you can only hold 6 items in your inventory at one point.
Yep. But he gets 6 items for his hero and 6 items for his bear.
Right.
So hypothetically speaking, he can become really strong with infinite amounts of game time, but that never really happens. Usually you see 2, 3, 4 items tops on the carries before the game ends. Sometimes it goes later. Looking for Fisher mid. We will get shackled. Hex as well, or sorry, shackled. Whatever that skill is, hookshot, he comes in, a lot of damage being done. He's going to die from this, I think.
Dyer's middle tower is under attack.
What he did there, he tried to actually stun himself. It didn't have enough time, though. Yeah. The unstable concoction can act. Oh, initiation for Master. Finds Lion, but Lion gets a quick hex. Even though it's only level 1 spell, as you mentioned earlier, it has a pretty long duration. This is something that's changed over time. His golden effect on the tower. This is something that each team has at their disposal every 5 minutes. Fortification. Meaning the tower will not take any damage. But
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
Oh man, big mistake.
Impale is there. Brewmaster.
Wow.
3 to 12 Vici Gaming fair. Remember, Newbie actually went 2-1 against VC. And Lion is going to die for a third time at level 5. And takes it at level 6, the poor guy. Another Echo Slam being used. Alchemist gets
oh my god.
This is turning into an absolute stomp.
Oh!
Basically a team wipe. Was Nature's Prophet top the whole time? I guess
this game over already?
I don't know.
I mean,
this is insane.
They're going to have their Radiance and 200 gold. When the Radiance comes up, the game ends basically because these supports only have boots. They have 600 HP. If they take 50 damage per second just by standing near this bear, even before it's attacking them, like, they can't win this. But Vici Gaming is crushing every single one of their lanes. And it all started off with the Shadow Shaman and Roam. FY came to the bot lane, he got a kill on Nature's Prophet, and then later on they got an Invis Rune, they got another kill on Nature's Prophet, and then everything went bad for them on the mid lane. The Brewmaster got a solo kill on the Alchemist, and then he got another solo kill on the Alchemist. And the top lane didn't even go that well for Newbee. They basically lost all 3 lanes, and if that happens, you're going to see something a little bit like this, which is a major gold advantage at this point in the game. They're still farming pretty good considering the fact that they're 3 kills to 15, but they've got to be really far behind EXP. They're incredibly far behind. It means they have 2/3 of the experience and levels that their opponents do. And that means that all of their abilities work a lot better. We'll see 1 kill top finally. Lifestealer picks up an Earthshaker.
But it gets traded for Roshan, which is that huge ancient in the middle of the map that you guys just saw. He gives a ton of experience, a ton of gold. Well, I shouldn't say a ton. He gives good experience, good gold to team that kills him. But he also drops an item called the Aegis of the Immortal. To pick that up, was it?
It's Lone Druid.
Okay, Lone Druid. So he will have a free life for the next 6 minutes. Once he dies, he will come back to life where he spawns 5 seconds later, or where he dies 5 seconds later. And the cool thing about it is, generally speaking, if you die, your bear dies as well. But because he has the Aegis, the bear will stay alive during that duration, which is pretty important. And something to keep note of. I don't know how prevalent this really is, but it's something to bring up nonetheless. Just remember, Newbee only played day 1 of the playoffs. They went on a really hot streak, beating a bunch of teams, getting to the grand finals on day 1, and they've been watching. That gives them some advantage, you think, but at the same time, they're not playing in these matches. I mean, Vici Gaming played a bunch of matches yesterday. They're on a hot streak as well as a result, and you have to at least enter this into your mind if that makes any difference, you know what I mean? I mean, it all depends on how people actually react to these situations. But
I really like the fact that they picked up Clockwork as well, and they maxed out Rocket Barrage as third skill. This ability seems really underwhelming because it only does 200 damage, but it's very, very good for counter pushing because you can basically hit the entire Rocket Flare. I'm sorry, I might have said Barrage. That's a different skill. Rocket Flare does 200 damage. It's in an AoE or an area of effect. So every time a push comes forward, he can do 200 magic damage to everything, and that's exactly what he's using the rockets for. He says, we're going to slow down your pushing, we're going to continue pushing ourselves, and we just want to slow these pushes down. And if he does that, it makes it harder for them to just take free towers.
And here you can see at the bottom lane, Spirit Bear now has the Radiance. The ultimate is there for Clockwork, but they're going to continue to apply some damage to this tier 2. And the bear dies. And with actually, he died before he resummoned, right? Or did he resummon?
I'm not sure.
Right, well, either way, if the bear dies, you take a little bit of damage yourself. It's like a little link between the hero and the bear. And he's going to teleport top, and his bear will come with. Goes everywhere he goes. And look how good that Radiance is. They're able to save their tier 2 top. And keep in mind, when a tower gets below 10% health, you can actually deny it, which means, like Sylar here on the Lone Druid, if this got to 160 health, 100 less health than it is now, you'll be able to kill it himself. And the reason you want to do this is it gives a lot less gold to the enemy team.
Yep. So both teams will want to do that whenever they can. Sometimes you see people kind of trade their lives for it, and it's not always worth it. But we haven't seen that yet this game. But it's a very crucial thing. If you see 2 heroes on opposite teams standing next to a tower, and it looks like they're about to attack, like they're spasming out, it means they're both trying to predict when their opponent will attack so that they can get the last hit. Because it is so much gold. It's like getting 2 kills, basically, a difference of that. For the entire enemy team, they don't get the experience, obviously, but it's 2 kills. That's amazing.
But you guys see the difference in the items here. It is just big time in favor of Vici Gaming. I mean, the mechanism, which is the healing item that Purge was talking about, is finally picked up for Newbee, but Vici's had that for quite some time. On top of this Radiance, on top of the Blink Dagger that is on Earthshaker. Earthshaker, obviously one of the best heroes ever to get a Blink Dagger, and he doesn't typically get one this early either, so it's not very often you see that. But in addition to that, ROTK on this Clockwork has even a Force Staff. This is kind of a pseudo-blink of sorts. You click it on yourself, or an enemy hero, or an ally hero, and it pushes them in the direction that they're facing. It can be pretty damn good to get away. It can be really good to initiate too in some cases. See how he uses it here. Like having the circle tower. Rage is going to be magic immune for a little bit, trying to kill the bear, not able to do so yet. The Brewmaster pops his ult, he infested inside out as he gets rolling. That's 2 heroes out of the fight. And Lifesteal is going to get stunned, and they take him out of the armor to try to stay alive. They finally fall. The finger of death finally being used to kill Clockwork, so it is a 1-for-1 trade. But the tower again is getting extremely low. It's actually Zhao 8 on Nature's Prophet is stuck next to his bear and 4 guys. But he ends up trading his life with the Earthshaker. So it's a 2-for-2, but they get the tower.
Is under attack.
And the fight continues for the push. The bear is still alive. Remember, the Aegis of the Immortal is still on Lone Druid. Lion died, but he buys back the Aegis. Blow up Silas. Remember, he comes back. The bear is still alive. This is crucial. Alpha finally gets on the sun. Wasn't able to get it off though. Or he did get it off, sorry. The Impale's going to hit 2 in the meantime. But again, this bear is slow. He can just go for the bear. They really want to. Let's back in wide low. They don't want to trade the life for this. They don't have to. To teleport away, he will barely get out of time.
Nice fun.
They don't try to get barely. I actually did not do that on purpose.
Barely.
Appreciate that. So let's talk about the significance of the barracks as well.
Yeah, they almost got it. If they do kill this melee barracks, this is the one that most people aim for, then all of the melee creeps, or the tankier ones, will spawn and be larger. The reason you kill melee barracks first is because there's more melee creeps, so increasing them by 50%, which is about their HP and damage gets increased by, makes them very, very good at pushing. And if your lane is constantly pushing towards the enemy's base, it means that you have more time to do things on the other half of the map, basically, or the other 2/3 of the map. That you don't have to worry about this one ever going in, because the creeps are always going to push. It just becomes a lot harder to make decisions. And also, these creeps, if they do get the melee barracks, they give less experience and they give less gold. So over the long term, one of the 3 major sources of income, which is the lane creeps, they end up not flooding in quite as fast. So it's really tough for a team to come back from losing a Rax, especially at this point in the game. If they would have gotten the barracks right there, we'll call it Rax a lot, by the way. If they would have gotten the barracks, it would have been almost surely a Newbie loss right at that point. Maybe not at that point, but it usually means the beginning of the end.
Yeah, typically speaking. And I mean, considering that they also have really good heroes.
Oh my god.
Well, it's just pretty scary overall.
He's got an AC now in his bear. He actually got this Radiance about 5 minutes ago, and he's already farmed an Assault Cuirass on top of that.
Watch how fast these barracks go down now. This item does a lot of things. It gives attack speed, it gives armor to your teammates, and it gives the minus armor, which is probably the most important factor for this fight, to both heroes on the enemy team and the buildings. So watch for the damage coming out. There's the stun on Clockwork, but the Sheep counter to Alchemist. He's going to try to run away. Pretty good ult. Gonna find his death pretty soon. I would assume Shadow Shaman getting more staffed away. Silent Lone Druid backing up. Vici Gaming playing very passive here. Lost the wards, and the Shadow Shaman wards finally put up. Infest. Was that used? I think so. It's inside a creep. He's going to use it to heal up just a little bit. Looks like Lion finally took out Earthshaker, who did not, I don't believe, use the ultimate at all. This is a really good fight for Newbie, even though this is a trade 2-for-1. Okay, maybe not. I thought that they were going to end up winning part of that fight, but all they've lost is Earthshaker for Vici. And remember, the bear can demolish that in the front. He's going to take down this tower, or this bear, pretty quickly here. This might be the last stand for Newbie. In fact, in game 1 of the grand final, 3 dead right now. They're going to spawn pretty fast, but I don't think it matters. The barracks is finally going to target, and look how quickly it goes down. The good games come out. So technically speaking, you have to defeat the throne to win, or the ancient to win the game. But if one of the teams concedes, they know they're going to lose. They just type GG, which means good game.
That's 2 more games, and if they take the win, that's going to be a $5 million prize pool going to Vici Game. The loser still gets an awesome 1.6, but man, what a stomp game 1 from Vici Gaming. They won every single lane. They got their core items up, and then they took a very, very simple push on the top lane. They play very safe Dota, and they play very strong Dota. They're all extremely talented players. See a Chen hat. That's pretty cool. Anyways, this is Persian Sunsman. That's game 1 of the grand finals, guys. We'll be back in just